All right, here we go, trying again. Why not? So, aloha from Hawaii. I am Janet Trevino. I'm here to talk to you about Cuddlist and what makes us special and the qualities that we all have. Most of us, all of us, I think, are either striving for or we have it that make our work successful in the world. And because I'm coming from Hawaii, I found this awesome way. It smells wonderful. Thought I would definitely put it on so you can see it, and every time we try this video over and over again, it gets better and better. So here we go. We're going to talk a little bit about qualities of a cuddlist. Now, we found about 4 different qualities that are really important, and then I give you some bonus ones that I add on to this, because ultimately this still is kind of a business, and there's some important things to think about when you think of being out in the world and doing this work. So let's go through each one, and I don't know if I said my name. So I'm Janet Trevino. I live in San Antonio, Texas. I don't live in Hawaii. I love being here. This is a great time having a little break with my family. And so now let's go and jump right into it. So here we go. Number 1. Affection and strength. So why is that important? Why do you need to have that balance? It is a balance. I see this balance as a parent. I can see how I need to have that nurture and that care that comes with parenting, and then I also have that strength that is needed to be able to hold space for someone. So in a session, for example, I may have someone who, let me think. I'm having some, go ahead and just take it. I'm working on some technical stuff so we get the right lighting in this room. There, is that a little bit better? Okay, so what I find is that if you're too strong, right? If you come off like really, holding your ground and being able to do your thing, it comes off cold, and people need to have that, create a sense of safety, and they don't feel safe if someone is really strong. But then if you're always nurturing and you're a people pleaser and you kind of go with the flow, like that also doesn't provide that sense of safety in a person. So having both, having this, again, like I see really good parents have this presence of like, I'm in control, not really in control, but like I know what's happening. I'm going to guide you through it. I'm going to help you with this process. Yes, coming to a cuddlist or doing any kind of professional cuddling is a little bit anxious, anxiety producing, and it's kind of scary because it's a completely new thing in the world. And being able to say, yep, this is normal and this is right. So having that strength of knowing who you are. And then having that, and come here, let me hold you kind of thing. Like, let me just create a space where you can let go, right? And so it's having that affection and that strength is super important, to have that balance so that people feel safe, that people feel like they can come to you and want to let go and want to be able to receive from you. So there's so many different things that also goes into that, but I'll move on to number 2. So number 2 is seeing the best in others and helping them see that best in themselves. So let me see how that one works. Personally, I don't Google any of my potential clients. I don't go and look up about them. I don't, sometimes they'll offer to send me a picture of themselves, and I think that's okay sometimes. Other times I don't really need it. I don't want to have any preconceived ideas of who these people are. So when they come in, they knock on my door, I get to see them exactly as they choose to present themselves to me. And that is a gift. That is, it helps me to be able to see them and receive them exactly as they are, and having that loving, compassionate approach to my work. In this world of politics and just a lot of division that exists, I don't really want to know who you voted for in the election. I don't really want to know what you think about the issues at this point. Like, for me, it's really important that I just see you as who you present yourself to be in that moment. I hear your words. I treat you as you are. There's no judgment. It's a completely no judgment space. I later find out that some of my clients have views that are completely different than mine, and it's okay, and it's different at that point, because I've been able to really get to know them as a human being. And so much about touch is about being present with each other, and about dropping all the labels, about dropping all the stuff, and just seeing them as for who they are. So that is really important, to have that ability to let it all go. Let it go of all the stuff in the world and just be with another human being that needs touch as much as you do. And that's powerful. So, in doing that, can you imagine if everyone had this kind of touch in their life, what a better world it would be? It would be amazing. So, and then there's also the question of, well, you know, what if those people, you know, you don't know them, and what if they, you know, they have different intentions, or something might not be, you know, you don't know who they are. Well, I do have a sense of trust. There's a lot of trust that's built into this work. So if you're the kind of person that's, you know, anxious and worried about, like, oh my gosh, strangers in my space, or, you know, I don't know, and like, that's probably not going to be the best thing. But there's again that strength of, I trust that whoever comes needs to come and needs to be in this. I do my protocols. I have a screening that I do before each person I meet live, and that helps to kind of help me gauge and figure out, like, if we're a good match, and I can sense if it's going to work or not. I ask specific questions, I listen to them, and then that process helps me, again, to have that inner knowing. Again, not everyone has that kind of connectedness to understanding, like, themselves and being in the world. So those are really important qualities to be able to, like, live in that trusting, loving place. All right. Number 3. Hi, Arjun. So number 3 is sympathize with others and not try to rush in and rescue them. That's huge. I find that we are not therapists, right? That's simple. I'm not licensed to do any kind of therapy, and if I was a therapist, I would not be able to touch you, so good thing I'm not a therapist. And so what we find is that people come not only for touch, but they come to be heard. They come to be seen, and they come to find a place to belong. That is, I think, basic needs. A lot of people are looking for just that. And especially if they don't have anyone in their lives, or if they find a lot of disconnection around them, either at work or at home, this work provides that, just, you know, for an hour or 2 hours, however long their session is, to be seen. And so people will come and they'll just unload. And it's for me just to be a loving presence for them, to have deep, compassionate listening, and be able to be as supportive as I can to that process of their unfolding, as their understanding of their life. Now, it would be very easy for me to go and go, well, let me tell you what you need to do, right? To become like a coach. And sometimes that's appropriate if asked for, but often that's not what's required, and I'm not their therapist. And I tell them, I'm not your therapist. I can give suggestions if you want, but all of that is also consensual. You know, we do our touch, that's consensual, so before you touch anyone, before you do anything different, you ask, you make sure that communication's open. But even in this regard as well, we go and we make sure, like, is it okay if I, you know, may I speak into that situation? Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just sit there and listen. I'll wait for their guidance into what they might need from me, and we just kind of go, you know, all of it is all consensual and all of it flowing to support them. And I don't go in to rescue them. I don't try to fix them. It's not my job to give them solutions, unless they were to, you know, again, if they were to ask. But it's just about being present. And I think for a lot of us in a world where we rush in and we, like, tell people our opinions and what they should do, and all that energy is kind of nice to get away from. So coming to a Cuddlist, you might be able to have that, just being yourself and not having to worry about someone, you know, butting into your life that you might not want. So that was number 3. So let's review real quick, because I feel like I'm getting lost a little bit. Number 1, having that affection and strength, that amazing combination. Number 2, seeing the best in others, not having any judgment or preconceived ideas before they come to you, and being in that open space during the entire session. And number 3, empathizing with them without the need to go in and rescue them and fix them. And number 4, establishing boundaries in a positive and consistent way. Now, why might that be important? So we have a code of conduct, and this code allows for things to continue moving in a non-sexual way. So again, this work is non-sexual. We have parts of our bodies that are off limits. You know, I'll give one, no fluid exchange, so there's no kissing, for example. And so sometimes, yes, it does happen. Sometimes people try to cross the line a little bit, or they just try to tease. They're like, it's so hard. It's all they say. It's so hard. I just really would like to kiss you. And hello. I think, sorry if those little things, beepy things go off. So they do try to cross the line a little bit, and so it's for me just to remind them, there's different ways in which we can do that. Sometimes it might just mean moving out of the space. Could be if their hand is moving in the wrong direction, maybe that. But I do it in a positive way, and it'd be really easy for me to kind of scold, slap their hand. Hey, don't do that, and that would bring up so many issues of like when they were children, right? And a lot of them already still in that childlike space, especially in the cuddling session. You see the child come out, and I've had the mischievous little boy come out sometimes, and it's like, okay. And so I'm trying to be positive about what we're trying to create here. We are trying to move into a deeper relaxation, a deeper connection with yourself. So in moving in that direction, it's sometimes it's uncomfortable because it's very vulnerable. So so if they move in, they're moving in the direction of like mischievous or pushing the boundaries or something more sexual that's positive, come back. I want to connect with you. I want us to have the experience that, that you remember you told me that you were looking for, and staying consistent in those boundaries. So what does that say about the qualities of a cuddlist, though? You need to be strong. You need to know who you are. It's definitely not for people pleasers. I think often I hear, when I see online, when it's mentioned in social media, you should be, they talk about cuddling, professional cuddling. Usually below in the comments, people will be like, hey, Betty, this is your job for you. Or, oh, you love to give hugs. Or you love to just, you're so touchy-feely. Like, hey, look at your second job, And I kind of, those people might very well be great cuddlists, but I kind of cringe a little bit because this work is just definitely more than just giving hugs or just more than liking to touch, experiencing touch. It's deeper. It's being able to hold these boundaries, being able to be strong and say no, and be in your hell yes and be in your hell no. When someone says, may I put my arm around your waist? That day I might be a hell no. And of course I wouldn't say hell no. I'd be kind, but I'd be like, I'm not really feeling it right now. Or I feel really uncomfortable with your hand around my waist, or whatever it might be. That, all of that, being able to say that takes a certain type of person. It's not easy. And even someone as myself, who I feel really strong in what I do, there have been times when I'm like, I'm feeling a little uncomfortable right now, and I'm trying to figure out what I need to do. Or I am feeling uncomfortable, and I need to see, what do I even say? Because I do want it to come from an authentic place, and I want to be kind. So anyway, those are the 4 things, and I'll go real quick. Affection and strength, seeing the best in the person, empathizing with them without rescuing them, and establishing boundaries. And I have some bonus ones for you because, like I said, this is still a business. This is it still is work, right? It's still something that I'm creating in the world. And so for me, being willing to be open about what I do is important. Being willing to go out there and get clients. So we do, Cuddlist. We will advertise in different places. Sometimes places that are a little, people think a little sketchy, a little questionable. But what I think is we're creating a new way of being in the world, and there's a lot of education that happens in that. And so if your heart is in it and you really are interested in showing, being a trailblazer and doing something that's completely new and helping people understand it, because it isn't understood. Everyone thinks it's just a cover for sex, and that's not true. And so there's a lot of explaining and a lot of being out there, and that takes a lot of strength as well. And believing in yourself that you can do this and that you can be, that this is something that feels really good for you to do in the world. The other thing is, because of all of that, it requires a certain level of authenticity and transparency that not everyone feels comfortable in being. we are accountable, right? So Cuddlist, we're not just lone rangers out in the world. We have an organization, Cuddlist.com, and there's a group of us that we do this work and we do it together. And so I know that I'm accountable to my community. I know that they are looking to me for me to keeping the code and doing things in a similar way as the others. Not exactly, and we all have different talents and different gifts we bring to it, but definitely maintaining a certain consistency of at least holding that code of conduct. And so I'm accountable, and when I choose to do something that goes outside of that, I know it hurts my own community. And so I don't. I feel really strongly about that. And so we work together. And that's also what makes this organization amazing, is that we're never alone. We're always doing this together and helping each other and supporting one another, because we're doing something brand new in the world, and we want this to spread. We want everyone to be part of this touch revolution we're trying to create. So I think that's it. These are the qualities, these are the things that I am constantly trying to embody, and these are the things that we encourage other cuddlists to embody, and I'm sure there's even more things that they would even come up with. And ultimately, I like to end with a quote that I think is, they say Gandhi said it, I don't think he did, but I don't know how it all works, but it says, be the change you wish to see in the world. So if you wish this world to be a place where we're all taking care of each other, where we're all present and loving, then you start there. You be the person in your community that sees other people, people that you would disagree with, that sees them in a new way, that chooses to remove the labels, chooses to forget about the beliefs for a second, and just see them as another human being. And then all of us doing that together, this world will be a completely different place. And don't forget, always, if you can, offer a hug. See if someone would like a hug that day. Someone that maybe you rarely would touch. And see what happens. All right. Love you all. Please go to Cuddlist.com. Find other Cuddlists in your area. I'm in San Antonio, Texas. Find me. I'll be back this weekend, back in town, so I'll be back working and giving a lot of touch, therapy, and love to all of you who need it. Take care. Bye-bye.